It's known as a tough, no-holds-barred, sometimes brutal sport. Gut-wrenching at times to watch.
Beautiful flying knee.
But entertaining nonetheless. The sport of MMA fighting, made popular by promotion companies like the UFC and Bellator, have become some of the most anticipated television events. But the popularity of this combat sport isn't just among adults. Kids are getting in on the action too. This Miami 11-year-old isn't just an MMA fighter. He is one of the top competitors his age with an undefeated record in MMA.
Go.
Do you do this to win?
I do this to win.
Isaiah Triana, whose fight name is The Natural, has been training since he was 3 and competing in the sport since he was 7, winning national and world titles along the way.
I don't forget he's my son, but as a fan of combat, as a fan of the sport, it's exciting to watch him.
It's a sport his father, a former boxer, steered him to. The reason? He believes it's safer than other combat sports.
More than 60-70% of the time, it's on the ground, and it becomes a submission game where you could easily tap to end the fight.
Youth MMA follows different rules than what you typically see in bouts featured on TV. Strikes to the head are not allowed. Dangerous submission moves aren't legal. There's also a point system that includes no wins by knockout or TKO. This version of MMA is known as Pankration, a youth sport that is rising in popularity, but remains widely unregulated.
Right now, the only state that recognizes and regulates youth MMA is the state of California.
John Frank is the president of the United States Fight League, a regulatory organization that oversees some pankration competitions. Though 18 is the minimum age to compete in MMA in Florida, he says youth tournaments still take place.
It's been going on in Florida for a long time.
That's because pankration, or the youth version of MMA, doesn't technically meet the definition of MMA under Florida law.
There are no head strikes. That's the main difference.
Of the 1,600 fights his organization has overseen in California and other states since 2014, he says there have only been 40 reported injuries.
Avoiding head and neck injuries in general, and especially in kids, is really important.
Orthopedic surgery and sports medicine Dr. Maggie Wright says it's important for parents to take precautions.
Again.
Like making sure their kids receive proper training and wear headgear, which remains optional in states where the sport is not regulated.
Practicing as safely as possible and doing as much prevention as possible, I think, is really important. And for any of the contact sports.
Things Isaiah has been doing.
I just hurt my knuckle recently. I kind of fractured it, and then during training, MCL, and then my arm popped out of socket.
Isaiah's really just circling around.
And so far, he says it's been paying off.
All of his injuries, not one was through combat. It was through dirt biking.
He says he hasn't been injured while competing in MMA, a sport he hopes to continue doing for years to come.
My goal is to get signed to Vice Fighting Promotion Championship and to sell out the Hard Rock, to be in the UFC, of course.
Isaiah's most recent win was at the Pan American Championship held right here in South Florida. There isn't currently a nationally recognized governing body over youth MMA. States have athletic commissions that implement rules for boxing, kickboxing, and mixed martial arts. But as of right now, that does not include youth MMA in Florida. Sasha Jones, NBC 6 News.